Hello there again, it's Brave here. I've got some more positive words for everyone. It's not fair to ask others to do what you are not willing to do. And also, if you're looking to help and heal people, you need to ask those people, are they willing to give up what made them sick? You know, because if you're a kind empath like me, where you see everyone suffering and you want to swoop in and rescue them, even though no one cares to swoop in and rescue you, you're always helping everyone else and no one's helping you. But because you're a good person, you continue to do so, because it's not about getting a pat on the head or getting a reward for your kindness. Even though you would appreciate a thank you, you know, that's a standard thing. If someone helps you, you should thank them and be grateful. But it doesn't always work out that way, does it? So, but when people are going through substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, um, even sex addicts, even people self-trashing, you know, people going around having multiple kids with multiple people and not caring about the children's welfare, not caring about the fact that they can't even look after them or don't have enough money to look after them, you know, and then excuse me, and that's just creating more people in the world who are going to be sad and angry when they grow up because of the trauma they faced in their childhood, you know. That's the thing that is sad to see, is that parents will pass on that trauma that they received from their grandparents or parents. They won't think, oh my god, this was so terrible what happened to me. I would never want to subject my kids to what happened to me. I want them to be strong, and but I'm not gonna, you know, mistreat them, but I'm gonna teach them to be tough and strong and also kind and helpful, you know. And it's sad how easily these generational curses can be passed on and the vicious cycle never ends. You know, people will grow up seeing their parents as alcoholics, abusing each other, abusing them, and they might vow when they were a kid, I'll never be like that. But then when they grow up, sadly get triggered by something and go along the same terrible path. Then when they have kids, their child is looking at them the same way they looked at their parent, you know, with fear and, you know, shame or confusion or, you know, conflicting feeling, loving them, hating them, you know. And you know, it's just very hard to get through to some people, you know. Sometimes you have to say, like, I don't know, it's like you have to tell people, you have to kind of use tough love sometimes. You don't want to be mean, but it's like you have to say, look, no more excuses. You know, people will say, I'm waiting for things to get better. I'm waiting, I'm waiting. But you have to stay, you have to stay strong, and you have to be willing to decide by yourself that tomorrow I will make a change. I will not just sit here wishing. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. Just need to move to another room. Some noisy people downstairs. It's just in like a library, but it's like there's some people coming in a bit noisy. Hold on. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's, you know, you have to say no more excuses to people. How many excuses are you going to keep making about, oh, I'll wait for tomorrow, or I'm not strong enough today? Then 10 years has gone by and they've been wishfully thinking that something's going to change when they're making no action. They're taking no action whatsoever to improve their life. They're just sitting there saying, yeah, tomorrow, tomorrow. And how are things going to get better tomorrow if you don't get up and make it better tomorrow? You're not active. Get active, you know. And it's like, I mean, you need to, like, you cannot live today on tomorrow's bread. And what I mean by that is you need to fight for what you need today instead of wishing that tomorrow some miracle is going to happen. Yes, it would be great if a miracle could happen, but you know, you have to be your own rescuer. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for you to just sit and wait. Even when you pray to God and ask for help from him and his angels, you pray for strength from your guides and ancestors. even with all of that that can come in and create a miracle in your life, you still have to be willing to get up yourself and get active and do the hard work, face your shadow, face those difficult things you don't want to face, whether it's getting counseling and talking about your grief, whether it's going to support groups and talking about your trauma. Even if you analyze yourself, if you're capable of analyzing yourself, you'll be able to get, to the root of, why am I, hooked on alcohol? Am I using it to escape from this particular trauma? Am I, is it too much pain when I'm sober? But then if I could talk about it with other people who have gone through similar things, like at support groups, people can, speak about their trauma that can help you process your trauma. Like these free support groups, they're really, really helpful. And I never thought a support group could even help me before, but until I was ARD and I went to one. And it did take me a while to get comfortable there. But once I did, like listening to everyone's stories, I'd always be the last to speak. I'd want to hear everyone's story first, and I'd sort of be sad with my head down. I wouldn't really look at anyone. But then eventually, when I saw how all these good, kind souls had been through terrible things too, and they didn't do anything to deserve it, just like I didn't do anything to deserve it. They were just good, kind people. They didn't put themselves in danger on purpose. They didn't provoke anyone to do this to them. It was just evil people going after good people, and like I said, it's good against evil. We have to fight the good fight and try to push back the evil that tries to keep us stuck and down. And another thing, like with children, even, you have to tell them who they are before the world tells them who they are. Teach them about their people, teach them how to be strong, teach them how to be brave, teach them about integrity and dignity and how we need to help each other. There's just so many people who do not teach their kids how to be decent human beings because they weren't taught to be decent human beings. And it's just, the thing is, I wasn't taught how to be a decent human being. I just was one, so that's quite weird, isn't it? How some people are like so blank and empty that they don't even have the ability to have their own mind. They just look at what's around them and say, well, this is how I'm supposed to be. And then there's other people like me who were given so much strength, so much, sense of who I was, that no one around me could convince me I was worthless. No one around me could convince me I wasn't a good person, that I didn't deserve love and protection. No one could convince me of that. But they tried. They damn sure tried, to let you think you're not worthy, you're not a good person, or you're a child who doesn't deserve love, you deserve beatings every night. They really, really tried to break my spirit. And when they saw they couldn't, it infuriated them, And so, yeah, you just have to, keep sorry, I'm muffing up my words. Yeah, don't let anyone keep you in mental slavery, like, even though there's not physical slavery, certain people in chains anymore, but there's still that kind of weird mental slavery where people will feel inferior to other people. Why, like, when it comes to like people being racist to you, because I'm from a multiracial family, so even though I have, Europeans and white people in my family, Indian, Indigenous, South Americans, and people with African DNA who were born in Jamaica. So, I always stand up against racism, sexism, any kind of discrimination. I always call it out and stand up against it, protect myself and others, but talking to people who feel belittled by, the world telling them that the way they look is not good enough, their hair is too frizzy, their skin is too dark, their nose is too wide. How dare the world speak to you like that? Don't let anyone tell you you're ugly or not beautiful. You are beautiful. And anyone of any race, not just, black people are beautiful, Chinese people are beautiful, Native Americans are beautiful, white people, Spanish people, everyone, it has the right to be happy for who they are. They don't have to put in, you know, like put on all the plastic surgery to look like another race. Why do they need to do that? But the world is so weird and messed up. It tries to convince you that what you are is not good enough. Like, why are people told they're not allowed to look like their ancestors? Why not? Our ancestors, our African ancestors, were great, intelligent, amazing people, and Europeans were jealous of their cities and all the, you know, the intellect and the navigation stuff they had, and the way they could map the stars and the, you know, the constellations and all those things that Europeans went and traded. Those things came from Africa, but yet they're telling the Africans that they're nothing, then they're not human, and they're using them in slavery for hundreds of years and forcing their generations after them, their descendants, to feel like nothing. Why is this allowed to happen? It really upsets me, you know. So to anyone who feels inferior to other races, don't you dare put yourself under anyone. You are equal, you are beautiful, and don't do the racist people's job for them and hate yourself. You know, there are people who literally actively hold themselves back, you know, because they're made to feel inferior, and instead of them fighting back against it, they're doing the work of the racists for them. You know, the racists don't even have to say anything anymore because you are keeping yourself back. You know, they can kick their feet up while you put yourself down. You put your own people down. Colorism, for example, that sort of is like a sort of hatred of people who are different complexions, you know, lighter skin tones, disrespecting people with darker skin tones in the same community. And that happens not just in the black community, it happens in China. Everyone's valuing the paler people with the beige skin or the lighter skin. Anyone who has a more tan or yellow skin, they're being made to feel unworthy, or their eye shape is unworthy, or their nose shape is unworthy. You know, in India they have that as well. Anyone who has darker skin is treated terribly, you know. But why is that? Why did it become a thing where, you know, if you're paler, you're more acceptable in the world? Because in the old days, having dark skin, before the transatlantic slave trade, which was the one taking slaves directly from Africa by the Portuguese and then other Europeans to Brazil, they took slaves to Brazil because the Portuguese, you know, controlled Brazil, and then, you know, slaves ending up in the Caribbean, you know, Jamaica and other Caribbean islands, then a mass of people being taken to America. You know, like, why was that allowed to happen? It just shows you how sick and evil the world is. And then they knew what they were doing was disgusting and wrong, but to counter, in like, to stop anyone questioning them, they were like, no, these people are like animals, they're not even human. Oh really? But yet you were jealous of them when they were in their own country with their own cities and their own amazing, you know, like the way they made bronze swords and Benin bronzes and had such intelligent people and stuff. You were jealous of all those things. You hid all that from the world, that you stole amazing artifacts and gold and things you found in these people's civilizations in their countries. You didn't tell the world about that, you know. But it is very sad, it's very painful, you know. I'll never be quiet about racism and discrimination. It's disgusting and I hate it and it needs to stop, but we know it's not going to stop, and that's why you must stand up for yourself and never have self-hatred. You know, there's going to be so many people out there in the world telling you to hate yourself because you're not white. And I'm not even against white people. Like I said, I'm multiracial. I have white people in my family and we all get on, and they stick up for the non-white members of their family too. You know, they say they will stick up for us in front of other white people, you know. But then it's like, so I don't want anyone who's not from a black or mixed with black background to feel bad. I'm not picking on you. I'm not saying that because you're the descendant of potentially slave owning people that you're bad people, because it wouldn't be my fault if my ancestors did something terrible. You know, if my great great granddad was a murderer, it's not my fault. It has nothing to do with me. and also, you know, being mixed, I'm related to the slaves and the slave owner, sadly, because of all the rape. And so obviously I don't have any I don't claim the slave owner. I hate them. I don't claim them in my ancestry, but I don't hate any European or people in my ancestry who, because I don't know every single one of them was a slave owner. That's not true. There were some who were, you know, Irish, and they were taken as indentured servants and they were mistreated as well. And then there were, you know, people, Scandinavians and other people who had nothing to do with the slave trade, or there was, you know, Indians or indigenous people, and they, you know, so it is complicated, isn't it? Because on one hand you hate the people from the past who have done something wrong, but then it's like, not, even though it happened to be majority of people had paler skin who were abusing people with darker skin, it's not like all people were like that, because there were plenty of people of European ancestry, English ancestry, who were fighting against these slave owners, who were fighting against the societal acceptance of such an evil practice. And multiple people, especially like John Wesley and his brother Charles Wesley, they were born in England during like the 1700s, and they really were against slavery, and they helped, at risk to themselves, they helped to free people and hide them and get them to England and stuff. So I really admire people like that. So yeah, like I said, it's not like I'm telling people hate white people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's good against evil. So no matter who you are, be good and be against evil, you know? So, and don't be so eager for wealth. You know, in this day and age, people want riches and fame and fortune. Don't be so eager for wealth, you know, because that means you would sell your soul and your dignity and your integrity to the highest bidder. You know, some people, yes, I can understand if you're dirt poor and suffering and you need food, it would be harder for you to turn down money. But at the same time, you can't be so eager to sell your soul, because then your soul is the most important thing about you. When you leave this disgusting, horrible earth plane, you know, you don't want your soul not to go back home to the light. You want your soul to be safe and, you know, untainted by evil. There are lower realms that can, you know, taint the goodness in you, and then you won't be able to get to the levels, the normal ascended levels that you originally came from, you know. So that's super important, you know. And then, hold on a sec. And no powers that be want the masses to be wise or strong, you know. They would rather you be easy to exploit, you know. So you have to be clever, you have to be aware that, you know, when you think you're supporting politicians or certain people, they don't care about you. They need to keep you dumb and unwise and not strong and weak, you know, because how else would they exploit you and control you? You have to think for yourself. You can't just follow what someone in power says, you know, because how did they get that power? You know, they probably stepped on everyone and was ruthless and used their money to hurt people, to keep people quiet who knew about their disgusting practices, you know. But it is still possible to create a nice life, even after going through much suffering. You know, even if many years were lost to grief and pain and darkness, you can still muster your courage and start again. You know, every day is a new chance, you know, and you're not starting without knowledge this time. You know, you've got experience now, you know so much now, you've got hindsight, you've learned so many lessons, you know, and that's important, to learn from the lessons. Don't just go through things and be like, oh God, I can't believe that happened to me, and then just keep continuing to do things that will create more of the same. You know, you must learn from these lessons. Find the lesson in your trauma, in the things that have been done to you. If there's some lesson that you can find and learn from, even if the lesson is just showing you how not to behave. These evil people, look how they behaved. I will never be that way, and I will protect people from that in the future and protect myself, you know. Yeah, so use your bravery and make a new life that you deserve, a life you can be proud of, you know. So yes, I think that's let me just check my note and see if that's all for now. Okay, I have a little bit more I want to say, so 1 second. Mm-hmm. 1 second. Yeah, so we don't need more stories about people who hurt others either, you know, because they were hurt, but we need stories about those who were traumatized and fought like hell to heal because they couldn't dare pass on the pain that was put on them. So let me repeat that because I feel like I said it too fast. Hold on. So I would rephrase it and say, instead of us focusing on the stories about people who were making excuses like, oh, well, I was hurt, you know, so hurt people, and then it's just an excuse like, well, don't blame me, it was my trauma. No, you are responsible for your healing. Your trauma wasn't your fault, but the fact that you used the trauma as a way to get away with hurting other people, that's not right either. And not saying that you can't overreact or react badly because of trauma and triggers, because that is, of course, that's possible, but we need more inspiring stories. We need to inspire ourselves or talk to each other or go to support groups and listen to others, you know, who have stories about, you know, I was traumatized, but I fought like hell to heal, and I refused to pass on that pain to anyone else. It ended with me, and I will protect myself and others, you know. And that is what is extremely important, because there's not enough people going out of their way to help others, but they're going out of their way to hurt others. You know, why is that? You know, so, and it is normal to be uncomfortable around people who have traumatized you, you know, and it's equally normal to be uncomfortable around people who supported those abusers after you'd spoken out, you know. So it's like they burn the bridges, mistreat you, and then ask you why you never trust them or why you don't feel safe in their company, you know. But and it's like, now I see the real monsters don't wear scary masks or disguises, but they are often the ones who smile and pretend to care about you, you know, a wolf in sheep's clothing. So you just, you know, you have to gather your own courage, you know, don't wait for other people to come and rescue you, because sometimes you reject the rescue, you reject the help, because deep down inside you are not gathering your courage to put yourself in a better headspace or a better mindset or a better situation, you know, because I could come along and rescue someone, take them out of a bad marriage, and, you know, set them up with a new flat, give them money, and if they're not mentally going to detach from that person, if they're not psychologically going to do the work to recognize what was keeping them in a traumatic situation, you know, because if I've rescued you out of it, you're physically out of it now, but if you psychologically are going to go back, you know, you're going to leave, you're going to reject the rescue I've done for you because you have not detached yourself psychologically. You couldn't see that this person's abuse was, you didn't deserve it, you needed to get away. You go back 100 times to an abuser. This is something only you can work on, you know. If you need to get counseling, if you need to get other, you know, forms of healing therapies, whatever you need to do, it's better to try, you know, just try. People are just so afraid to try, even though they'll take the risk to do things that will ruin their life, you know, because stay an alcoholic, stay a drug abuser, stay, you know, in a toxic relationship, friendship, marriage, living situation, whatever it is, but they won't take the risk to save themselves. And this is what we need to look at. Why is that? You know, is this lack of self-worth? Do you not think you're worth saving? Because you are. You are worth saving. You are worthy. And you should make the effort to take the risk to change your life for the better. That's all for now. God bless everyone around the world. And I wish you peace, love and light and protection. And I hope everyone has a great day or a great night wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.